So I was at a friend's summer house over the weekend. He's also a dad and very interested in the digital world and anything new that comes up. Anyway, we were discussing the power of YouTube and video in general that has taken over the world like a storm. I was making a point of how important it is for creators to take advantage of the visual aspect of video making. That led him to share the following story with me. He was doing a presentation in his job the other day and he noticed something. His presentation was like any other kind of business presentation, I assume, where he was showing slides to his audience as he went through the various topics he was discussing. Those slides weren't more than images and text, usually as a bullet point list. I'm sure many of us have taken part of such a presentation, which we won't forget. Boring. Now, as he was advancing into his presentation, his next slide was a bit different. It was a 3D illustration of what he was discussing. It was about a gas station, for the record. So instead of having yet another list of bullet points, he had gone a step ahead and had used a piece of software that I can't recall right now to create a 3D drawing of what he was about to explain. I believe it was actually a 3D animation of a gas station pointing out the different parts of what makes a gas station and where everything is placed. As he was going through that specific slide, he noticed that the people in the audience were suddenly much more interested in what he was talking about. Not only they were paying more attention to his speech, but they were looking at the projector screen a lot more. Now, obviously a 3D presentation is much more interesting than text on a screen. At the end of his presentation, some people approached him to let him know how fascinating that slide was. And he realized that specific slide was what most people would remember from his presentation. At the end of his story, he shared with me another interesting thing he has noticed. You want the best way to showcase what you want to explain during a presentation? The 3D worldview of strategy or RPG video games is your best bet. Think about it. Compared to a two-dimensional map or simple text and bullet point lists, a first-person view or bird's-eye view of a 3D layout offers the most immersive way to capture the audience's attention, even when explaining the most boring stuff. Remember those games when you order your men to capture a building, rotating the map and moving into virtual buildings to see what's inside? Yep, that's exactly what would make a great presentation of the most confusing topic. So, the point here is that the presentation should take advantage of the added benefit of having a projector. Otherwise, it's public speaking, which is a big skill and takes practice to conquer, much like every other skill in life. But having slides during a talk shouldn't simply act as a way to summarize your speech in lists and headings. The slideshow can act as a way to help the audience understand better, easier, and more clearly what you are talking about. And if you are not a skillful public speaker that can grab the attention with your way of talking, the slides can bridge that gap. At least, that's what I took from his story. Now, how does that translate into YouTube or video in general, on social media or anywhere else? The medium of video is similar to the slideshow of a presentation. Let's explain that. Consider right now that I'm talking to you on camera. This is a talking head video. This is you listening to a presentation without slides. It's just me talking. This video could very easily be an article. That's actually the case for most videos, where the creator is simply talking to the camera. And worse, if it's scripted, like this video, it's using the minimum leverage that the video is offering. Compared to an article, you only get to see me speaking these words to you as an added benefit. That's all. But that's a very limited way to take advantage of video. It's exactly the same as the presentation's benefits that my friends shared with me. So, what do people do to leverage video when they are simply talking to the camera? They use text overlays. These have proven to grab people's attention because People tend to read what's on screen. So while they're reading these lines, they don't skip or close the video. Of course, text and closed captions also help for hearing impaired people. Then, creators add animation or fancy fonts to their text overlays as a way to keep the viewers engaged. Still, this again doesn't take full advantage of video. It's like a slide with easier to read fonts or beautiful headings. People will get bored unless you are a charismatic speaker or you are sharing a fascinating story. So next, they use simple camera transitions. Zoom in and out effects to the talking head. But it's still the same video. It's like the person doing a presentation coming closer to their audience. What do I mean by all that? Video wasn't made for merely talking to the camera. At least that's what I've come to realize after watching so many YouTube videos, trying to find my voice online as the world shifted from blogs to videos. Back in 2005, when I began blogging, words were enough to stand out in the crowd. You had to write better than the next blogger or offer valuable content. In fact, that last part hasn't changed at all, no matter the medium. Then came structure, headings that made sense, formatted text that drew attention, and so on. We were making our text prettier. Pictures came next, that elevated our text, and although the content remained king, photos became the norm to get attention and reach out to more people. Even today, posts on social media that include a photo have 5 times more reach compared to a post with only text. Of course, video is on another level. And that's because we can do so many things with video compared to text or photography. Video can draw attention and keep the audience engaged a lot more than words or photos. Fast-paced videos like short-form video content is even more engaging. Hence the power of video. But until recently, the internet couldn't handle the bandwidth of showing 24 photos per second to the other side of the planet. Text could travel at the speed of light, photos took a few seconds, but video was way too big. Once connection speeds allowed for video to play seamlessly on our mobile devices, video content exploded. Yet people still use video like writing a blog post, much like I'm writing this script. Now, if I had charisma, wasn't an introvert, and English was my native language, I could speak to you without a script. But because of those weaknesses, I choose to read from a script, like authors read their books and create audiobooks. But that's this kind of videos. There is a ton of video types you can create. So, what's the whole point of this story? I hate talking head videos. I really do. As a result, I don't like making them. So why do I make a talking head video right now? Because I want to discuss topics that I can't have footage of, like this very story. If I had filmed my friend as he was sharing his experience with me, it would have made a much better video than this one. But unfortunately, I didn't. And even if I did, I would have to translate a 10-minute conversation from Greek to English. But I still want to share this story. The question is, do I write it or do I tell it? I choose to tell it because, as mentioned, the power of video is far bigger than words, even if it is a simple talking head. Surely, I could add stock footage of random handsome guys talking or taking part in big presentations. But that is not authentic. You are here because of me, not because of video clips you may get to see in another video. That's why I don't use stock footage, by the way. I want these videos to come across as authentic as possible, despite me speaking from a script. Also, I don't have to edit and format the text for a more appealing blog post. I don't have to think of bullet points or have a structure. I'm writing as if I'm speaking to you. That's because I have no intention of converting this into a blog post. If you don't want to listen to me, AI now automatically creates a transcript of what I'm saying, and you can read everything I told you in half the time. But at least that transcript is this very script I'm reading from. So this is my plan for making more videos going forward. If I want to tell a story that I don't have footage of, I will make a talking head video. Some may call it a podcast. And since there's no footage that explains my story better, I'll upload it as an audio podcast as well. That's this type of videos. If the story that I want to tell can be told with footage, I'll film some clips. The more, the better. Anything that can play over my head talking to you. And if I have already filmed a story, that's the best video I can make. The story is already told in video. A perfect example of show, don't tell. Maybe I won't even have to speak to tell you those stories. The footage itself will tell the story. Like those silent videos I watch on YouTube that I'm a big fan of. I'm sure I'm not the only one out there. So that's what tends to work for me right now. If something is happening and I can capture it on camera, I will. But from time to time, I get by interesting stories that cameras didn't capture it, like this one I shared with you today. Then it's podcast time. I know though that these videos won't be as popular as others. Many of you have complimented me of my cinematography. At the same time, no one has complimented me for my speaking skills. Or should I say, reading skills. So I aim to make as much normal video content as possible. But I still want to share this kind of thoughts. What do you say? Since you reached this far into the video, I bet you enjoy both. But what if you are a content creator yourself or want to leverage video for your business? Do you enjoy boring presentations with headings and bullet points? Or do you prefer standout slides, like my friend? Do you use video at its maximum potential or not? And what's your bottleneck of not doing that? Thinking of capturing stories in video format helped me in that regard. And I constantly see opportunities for professionals around me. For instance, the guy that's cleaning our building, if I were him, I could feel myself starting my day very early in the morning, loading my truck, going from building to building, and doing the cleaning. Or my local bakery. I would film baking bread and cookies, customers entering the shop, and little details of my job. Or a law firm. I would film getting prepared for a case, going to the courthouse, and sharing everyday stories of people having trouble without giving specifics or names, of course. For me personally, as a work-from-home dad, well, I film myself working on the computer, going for my regular morning walks, taking care of my health, and having fun with my family. And from time to time, I film little stories that take place in my life, like traveling to a country, facing challenges in my business, or visiting friends. All these make for much more interesting videos than talking head videos. These take presentations to a whole nother level than simply putting text on screen. And as people will remember my friend's presentation, I bet people will remember a video that went far and beyond. I'm not so sure of this very video though.